just a waste of time? Was trying to turn you into something. I wish you would've took your time. Yeah. Why does it seem like you was here, but you wasn't here for real? Remember that promise we made when I told you to keep it real? Gave you my patience, baby. I don't even know how to feel for real. These moments of me much more, but it's way too hard to ignore.
Yeah, look, she just like my song and she like the way I rock it. I was off the shrooms, yeah, I'm zooming like a rocket. Hit me with that FaceTime, all she do is talking. Took you out to dinner, cause you know I'm trying pasta. Going through the motions, that's the only way I know it. Avoiding all the conversations that I know I owe her. Conflict, never on my list, should I dodge it? It's a mosh pit, where she in and out that cockpit. Lady London, can you show me some? Raising up the temp, need a vent or something. It's getting hot in here like the summer months. What you need, what you want?
I'll show you how to level up. Is it just a waste of time? Was trying to turn you into something. I wish you would've took your time. Yeah. Why does it seem like you was here, but you wasn't here for real? Remember that promise we made when I told you to keep it real? Gave you my patience, baby. I don't even know how to feel for real. These moments of me much more, but it's way too hard to ignore.
Yeah. You know I gave you my word. If that means something to you, baby. Look, I know the language can cause miscommunication. I laying down statements, gave you my location. Symbolizing reassurance, we on vacation.
Peace and blessings, family. This is your brother Asarimhotep with the Martin Delaney Center for Egyptology. And this is the Mbongi, and this is an open forum. That means there's no set topic. You know, I try to answer questions that you have on your mind. You can join the panel, for which the link is pinned to the top, or it should be pinned to the top. Matter of fact, let me just pin it right now, because I did not pin it to the top. But it should be pinned to the top right now if you want to join the conversation live, or you can just ask your questions or make your comments in the chat. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for coming through, and all of that and more when we return in just a minute. And we are back. I just want to again remind everyone that this is an open forum. So, you know, no particular set topic. But again, the link to join the conversation is pinned in the chat at the top. But just want to shout out everyone who has made themselves known in the chat. And so peace and light to Ronnie. And I see we have a game questions already starting out, so we'll get to them in just a moment. Peace and blessings to Sister Mika in the building. And Edward Enigma 9 by 9 is in the building. Peace and blessings to Zane Montego. And our good brother, Obama, is in the building. Peace and blessings to Sister Ladosha Wright in the building. And our good brother, Teti Ursa Ra Sanefaru is in the building. So love and light to each and every one of y'all. I know that I haven't been on in a minute, and I'm trying to get back into the swing of things as my schedule kind of evens out a little bit here. So, just want to kind of kick it off and get back into the swing of things as I stated earlier. And we'll do this again, of course, with the open forum. So peace. We have a few more people that have made themselves known. So peace and blessings to Thurman Meredith, if I'm saying that correctly, and to Sister Sylvia Stewart. Hotep to you and everyone else who has made themselves known in the chat. And of course, those of you who are just watching and the like, love and light to you all too. And so I guess just to get started, I'll just start off with Ronnie's questions and we'll kind of go from there. So, I want to have some just kind of instrumental underlying music. Let me see what I got. What's this? We'll do that. Just kind of reduce the volume a little bit. And so that should be good. And so let me go up top to Ronnie's first question. And he asks, could you elaborate on parallels between Africa, specifically Sudan, and India? Now, that's kind of a big and broad question. And, actually, that is an interest of mine. It's been an interest of mine for a while. And especially since, let me see if I can find this. It's a professor out of Senegal who he did his PhD dissertation in linguistics. So he's a doctor of linguistics, historical comparative linguistics to be exact. And his dissertation was on the relationship between the Wolof language and the Dravidian languages. And so I have a snippet of like an article that he wrote back in the day, and I'm still trying to get a hold of his full dissertation. But let me see, Dravidian. I got to do these searches on my computer here. I don't be having nothing readily available. Let me see. Let me do it like this. And what is I'll save that for later. I'm sorry, I am still searching. It's a particular, I don't want to mess up the name, so I'm maybe just in a different, let me check my article. Would they be in linguistics? And I'm trying to avoid anything that comes up with what's his name, Dr. Clyde Winters, right? But his name is Dr. Sheikh Tiadani Njaye, and let me see. Let me take this off for a second and just share my screen. Let me do a window here. So I'll do this so y'all can kind of see my. Oh, I need to. Let me take this off. There we go. Let me make this full screen. And you can kind of see from the screen here. Why is this? Where is my? I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out why this so we can make that bigger. So if you can find it on the net, it's the Dravidian and Sudano-Sahelian civilization, Sheikh Tiandani Njaye. And this is not his, of course, his PhD dissertation, but this is just some insights into his analysis on the relationship between Dravidian and Wolof and related languages. Now, you know, there are some who argue ultimately that the Wolof, and I know your question was specific to the Sudan, but there has been a hypothesis that they originate from the late Sheikh Anta Diop from the Sudan itself, right? And but even that's not the one that I want to deal with. It's another article. It's specific because he's addressing Dr. Theophilo Benga, and even making some arguments, you know, in support of Sheikh Anta Diop, because Obenga was criticizing Sheikh Anta Diop's methods. So this is some of Obenga's early work, you know, when he first got into contact with Sheikh Anta Diop, right? So let me. But I just wanted to give you that name so that you can, you know, kind of see that there's already been some conversation regarding those links. And so you said, notice that both women carry objects on the head. Notice that both areas use henna. Notice that people have those large nose rings. Yes, but you got to remember that kind of India and East Africa are kind of close, and there's always been some back and forth. Now, I have been doing some. Let me stop sharing. I've been doing some analysis on the word Buddha. And it would appear as if the word Buddha itself derives from African words, you know, and there's a syllabic inverse that that you'll find mainly like in West Africa and even Semitics as Debia, Tibia, etc. It's the inverse of Buddha, but they ultimately mean the same thing, and they're referring to these old medical priests that used to travel and the like. And let me see if I can find. Right. I won't go into all the super details, but hold on. Am I even spelling that right? Yeah. So now I can Buddha, right? Let me reduce this window real quick so I can share, because there's something that I wanted to share as well, because not only so like those items that you mentioned, those can easily be the result of interactions and trade. So nothing necessarily inherited. It just could be the result of a trade relation. But there's some aspects of the culture that, you know, really kind of requires a deeper analysis and the like. And I'm trying to find these photos that I have of these East Africans, kind of like along the lines of the Maasai and the like, and the in certain Buddhist representation, right? And man, I can't find it in this one. I thought I had it in this one document, but I don't. Doesn't look like it, so let me go to another. And I know for a fact that I had this in another. I'll be having so many notes. If y'all understood my note taking process, okay, let me share this screen real quick, right? Let me do that. So hopefully y'all can see the screen here. And, you know, as somebody who quasi studies like ancient art or whatnot, so this is a Maasai man, right? So notice of course, the peppercorn hair, his facial features. I can blow this up a little bit, but more importantly, the earrings and the way that they're deformed and stretched here, right? And then when you look at like the depictions of the Buddha, for example, this is, you see the same kind of features here. So you see the peppercorn hair, and I know there's been some people talking about these are snail shells, and like, no, this is actual hair in terms of the representation. And you can see the deformation of the ears, right? And there's some other links out in India in terms of when you see the women, like there's women in East Africa who have these iron and metal circular beads around their neck, and they elongate their neck. And you find that same representation in India itself as well, right? And so, you know, along with the linguistic analysis, because if y'all recall, for those of you who have my 2020 text, Umoja Volume 2, you know, I have a chapter in there on the etymology of the word seba, which means teacher or whatnot. And it's through all of that research that this other research regarding, Tiba, Tabib, remember, a sage, Modibo. These are all kind of coming from Semitic, but African languages have their own variant of it, like Dabia, Duba, Eba, Ab, of course, Adibo and Yoruba, Katobo, priest, Kitobo and priest, and among the Baluba, etc. You find the word Budo, witch doctor, Budo, he who has the evil eye, East Kashitic, Balda, Babedi, exactly. It all has to do with, in the literature is going to say witch doctor, but of course we didn't have no witch doctors. These were people who were priests who were also in the medical field, right? And so so that research is coming. Just been, of course, doing some other things, but that has definitely been on the mind. So that's one aspect of the connections that I'll be dealing with in the near future. So stop sharing, and I'm gonna see. It says both have lions and elephants and think cows are sacred. Here mentions of the language and gods being similar. The people look very similar. Like again, there's been back and forth between East Africa and India for many millennia. So that wouldn't be surprising. So it's a question of, are these features inherited or the result of those travel and interactions? And then of course we got to time all of that stuff. He says, I met this one girl that looked entirely Indian, but she was Sudanese. Well, in the modern day, that it gets exacerbated by the fact that we have faster ways to travel now. So like that wouldn't be a thing at all, because Indians been going into Egypt, been going into Sudan, been a part of the Swahili coast trade with the Arabs and the like, and Bantu speakers. So that wouldn't be telling in terms of a historical analysis. So let me continue to scroll down. Let's see. Peace to you, Donnie Williams, always trolling. Let's see. It says, Ronnie, any information on the history of North Africa besides Egypt, where the Berbers originally black, is the Berber script language from black African people? Those are kind of loaded questions, and again, we would have to have these larger discourses on race. To what degree do you mean a blackness in terms of it being African languages? Berber can only be found in Africa, so of course it's an African language, and it doesn't have any relatives outside of Africa, unless you adhere to the Afro-Asiatic hypothesis. But those are definitely not closely related languages. So you can only argue that Berber is born in Africa by Africa. To what degree that you want them to be black, that's another conversation for another day. And let me change the background. I'll do this. There we go. And so again, this is an open forum. The objective is just to have a conversation about certain things. So again, the link is in the chat, and it should be pinned to the top. So let me just confirm that it is so, and it is. So if you want to join the panel, you in fact can. So Let me see. Did I miss anyone? I don't think that I did. And so, just a quick announcement for those of you on the Patreon page. You should already know that we have already conducted an interview with Dr. Kaikosa Kajangu, who has a new book out. And, I've been trying to interview this elder since 2009. So, this is a very special interview for me. Again, this is Dr. Kaikosa Kajangu. He is out of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and he deals with a lot of African spirituality. He's been initiated in a number of African wisdom traditions, and I quote him quite a lot in my analyses on African spiritual systems and the like. And so a very knowledgeable and informed brother. And so if you are on the Patreon, that interview is up, and I should be conducting an interview. We have to reschedule with a Sudanese, speaking of the Sudan, a Sudanese elder. Matter of fact, I need to go to social uploads. Nope, I didn't add his photo, but will be definitely, he speaks Nobin, a Nubian language, and he has written a book on how to write the Nubian and Nubian language. And so that'll be on the Patreon soon as well. So make sure that, y'all kind of tune in for that. So let me take that off. I could just put this at the bottom. And so, I know that a lot has been going on since I haven't done a show in a minute. So, what is on y'all minds? Let me know. And I don't plan on staying too long tonight. I just want to kind of see what was going on, put my ear to the streets, as they would say. And, then it's kind of back to work. I am currently working on a kind of an article, so to speak. Let me where is it? Here we go. I'm nowhere near finished, but this is some work that I'm doing on the words dealing with the Egyptian Ib, so-called Ib, words and analyses, working on towards the vocalization process. And so right now it just looks kind of like scattered notes, because I'm just kind of compiling and putting some earlier notes and some things together, and then I'll just come back and put my commentary. That's kind of how I work. I kind of work backwards, because a lot of this stuff that I've already done in other texts, I gotta, pull from or certain experiments that I've done, and then try to kind of organize it into a kind of a single thing. And so I'm working on the issues with the Ib, ancient Egyptian Ib. So there's, for those who are familiar with the hieroglyphic script, there's at least one Ib that means heart. And why does this thing that, there we go. And let me kind of scroll down. So this is, I don't know if y'all can kind of see that. Like this is the representation for heart. And, what I argue is that the earlier form was more closer to the Kikongo and Bundu, right? And the we'll find that it is the Bantu that has the closer renditions to a lot of these forms, and that other languages are more distant in the like. So I haven't added my commentary just yet. So again, this is just, it looks a mess. It looks unorganized, but it's not. So we'll get back to that at another time. So, I'm in the lab working, cooking, as we would say. Let me see. Sister Mika says people mostly talking about the presidential debate, which is kind of interesting in that, like, I forgot that it was 9/11 recently, and because you really didn't hear any talk dealing with 9/11 because everybody was indeed talking about the presidential election, and of course everything is now about cats and dogs being distracted. But and peace and blessings to Robert Rand, and he says that ain't nothing happening in these YouTube streets. He says streets or whatnot. And Sister Mika says eating pets and the like. Yep. And so the Haitians are always getting accused of eating something, and people think that this is like a new rumor, but it's not. This rumor is decades old. Of Haitians eating cats and dogs. It's every election cycle there's a new Haitian rumor, right? Because they're just trying to diminish and downgrade Haitian people, which is sticking to itself. But I will take this time to kind of share my screen and kind of remind everyone that there is a a spreadshirt, and I'm about to order me a sweatshirt, a kimoyo sweatshirt, because we have the Sheikh Anta Diop conference coming up soon in October. And let me just find real quick my abstract, and I'll let y'all kind of read what the abstract says, and then you'll kind of understand the why I'm ordering the t-shirts and the sweaters. But if you haven't visited, I have a few designs. I'm working on a few more to upload soon. But just objects. I even ordered a sticker, so I'm gonna make some more stickers that you could put. And so you'll see kind of the clothing of the Rude Boy Juju, some of my earlier kind of hip hop stuff, the Bine Cole, the Martin Delaney Center for Egyptology tees and bags. What is the one that I just ordered in terms of a shirt? Yeah, like this one is the one I ordered. I need to order one in this color, and of course, they don't have that many black models, so y'all kind of ignore the white boy on as the models. But there's a few that I want to get this sweater here, but I want to change this to white so it kind of stands out more, not the dark on dark. But I want to have these baseball tees as well, and I'm working on some things. So eventually I want to get my own t-shirt press so I can do my own print-on-demand orders for these different things. But saying all of that to say, let me see. Let me stop sharing that screen. And Nimrod said, with this inflation, we may all soon be eating pets. I don't know about that, but you know, and I'm not going to say what ethnic group, but there's definitely an ethnic group that eats dogs, coming out of the Asian continent. But I don't want to feed into certain stereotypes. But it's amazing that when we do actually have evidence of this in real life, they don't have the stereotype, but random Haitians do, you know. And so what I want to do is share my screen again, and I'm going to share my abstract. Hide that. So hopefully y'all can see. I don't know to what degree that y'all can see, but this is my abstract for the Check Onto Diop conference this year. So it's hip hop as a Kimoyo healing arts tradition, right? And let me turn this music off and just make it lower. I'll put it like that. Do about 10% there. And so hopefully y'all can read it. So, you know, hopefully it's big enough. I don't know. Let me take that banner off so it can be seen better. All right. So yeah. So this is the topic. So hip hop as a Kimoyo healing arts tradition, an introduction to Jashe. And so I'll just read it just in case it doesn't come up or y'all like on your phone and it's small. So I state the current presentation re-examines the history and evolution of the culture of hip-hop and how its elements are used as vehicles of healing and wholeness in the lives of African American people. After a careful and critical analysis of all the features of hip-hop and its underlying philosophy, it has become apparent that hip-hop should be classified as an authentic African American spiritual tradition within the larger framework of African spirituality and deep thought. In this discourse, we reconceptualize both African spirituality and hip-hop culture with two new labels that we feel are more authentic to their essence and purpose, therefore Kimoyo and Jashe, respectively. The term Kimoyo can be defined as the art of adding life to life. Kimoyo describes a dynamic, cosmic, and cultural vital force exchange system. This vital force is called Moyo in Kikongo, but among the Yoruba it is called Ashe, from which we get the term Jashe, also a play on the word jazz. The goal of Jashe is to achieve a Jashe, which means victory after much difficulty. In other words, to obtain a victorious consciousness through the mastery of the 5 elements or healing arts of Jashe or hip-hop as we're reorganizing. So those 5 healing arts are called Orin Ashe, which deals with the music production and DJing. There is Shejo, which means breakdancing or dancing in general. Iya She, it should be Iya She, but it's Iya Ashe, and we just shorten it to Iyashe, which deals with graffiti or just arts in general in terms of visual art. So this could be the plastic arts in terms of molding or sculptures or the painting, spray painting and like or whatnot. Then we have Afalshe, which is emceeing and poetry. And then you have Eshegun, which is the different martial arts. And so the principal martial arts that fall under the Eshegun will be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, uh, 52 blocks, and capoeira, and also chess, the game of chess. So we're considering the game of chess as a martial art, right? And so that will be briefly discussed in the presentation. I won't have much time to go through everything here because we only have 15 to 20 minutes to do our presentation. But there will be a larger discourse and text that accompanies this, right? So these 5 elements must be seen as technologies used to harness, maintain, and share this vital force called Moyo for the benefit of self, family, and community. This presentation will focus on Sheijo, or breakdancing, and demonstrate how dance is the principal modality of healing in African wisdom traditions. So I hope that makes sense. And then there will be more details, at the given at the conference. And so what we're doing here is reconceptualizing hip hop culture and putting it in this proper African context, and then molding it and shaping it and institutionalizing it in a way that it can be used for our benefit to empower African people. Because as I articulated in the discourse, you can kind of look at hip hop as like a wildfire, right? It is powerful, but it is untamed. It is unchanneled energy. And so if we are able to capture it and to harness it, we'll be able to channel it in a way and to empower certain other institutions and the like, and help to develop certain types of human beings, and of course use it to what it was intentionally intended to be used for in the beginning, and that is as a means of healing and expression and the like. And so that will be what will be discussed at this year's Shekanta Diop conference, for me at least. And so there'll be some deeper questions and the like from there. So let me see. Let me see. And I appreciate it, Jack E. Johnson, and thank you for joining the Mbongi. And I see we have another question from Ronnie, and let me see. He says, "Is chess of Egyptian origin? I keep hearing people mention that it is, but I can't find any definitive proof for it. Senate, for example, seems somewhat similar but different." I've heard that too, and to be honest, I can't answer that definitively, because it's something that I put on the back burner to investigate at a future date. Because again, just as you stated, I've heard those rumors and connections that they definitely look similar, but from my initial readings, they don't really know how the Senet game is played, right? So that makes it more difficult to make an argument that, you know, one, that is even similar to chess, and that two, one derives from the other. So that is something that we definitely have to be careful of, and I don't want to be put into that camp without any kind of definitive evidence. And so let me stop sharing the screen, and while y'all are sitting there waiting, I'm gonna need each and every one of you to that is right. Make sure that you hit the like button, and make sure that you share the video, as well as, if you are new to this channel, make sure that you subscribe, as we are working towards getting 10,000 subscribers to the channel. And, you know, that would allow us to add some other features to the channel once we, you know, hit that milestone. So, you know, the more subscriptions, the better. So make sure that you tell your peoples. And let me see. I want to get y'all opinion on this comment here. What do y'all think when this person says this?
And I think all religions, be it Christianity, be it Islam, the whole pilgrimage story to Mecca is not meant for anything else except just to focus the Muslim mind to the black stone and leave everything else behind and walk around as a group and do some chants around the group. For the moment, you are not yourself.
Yes.
You are a group of an army that is fighting the wars of Allah. Allah Akbar. You know, we are all in one space. Christians, go to Rome, go to camp meetings, go to retreats, go to what? Trying to do the Buddhists, go to the mountains.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, the secret is they're trying to quieten the mind. But in the African space, our expression is different. It's the sound of the drum. It is the dance. It is the stomping of the ground. It is the sweat. And imagine when you are stomping on the ground, the stresses that you are letting go of your system. It's not just an exercise, but literally the whole body is beginning to get a vibration around where I am and where I am coming from. And in some certain cases, in the moments of those dances, your kundalinis begin to arise from the lower part into the space of the spirit. And other people have been able to translate, transform, transport themselves into spiritual realms during some of those dances. And the drum must be loud enough so that it blocks away all other patterns of thinking. There's no way you can think when the drum is playing. No, boom, 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 boom. And the singer patient, you're trying to think, where is my rent, where is my what? And your mind is telling you, not now, not now. And the minds of the community are channeled into a certain common space, where in there, when you come back later, you're tired and you can rest and sleep and find that spiritual comfort that we find. So it's different ways.
And I play that clip because, you know, part of the discussion that I'm going to be having at the Sheikh Anta Diop conference in October is, again, because the matter of fact, let me just pull up the website so, you know, this even makes more sense. I forgot to provide y'all with the theme of the conference is this year, right? And let me see. So let me share the screen. Right. So the 2024 Sheikh Anta Diop International Conference will be held at Temple University here in Philadelphia. So the theme of this year's conference is compassion, care, and consciousness, Africological causes and effect. This year's theme, compassion, care, and consciousness, Africological causes and effects, addresses the ongoing worldwide social, political, and spiritual unrest that Pan-African scholars and practitioners are encountering across political, economic, health, and educational fronts. We recognize the state of emergency many of us find ourselves in with the rise of fascism, warfare, and attacks on social justice on the continent and throughout the diaspora. We also know, tied to Sankofa, that we must look back to age-old traditions in order to forge a new path ahead with compassion, care, and consciousness. While seeking to extend the objectives of the current, it is our hope that this year's conference will reimagine and explore ways in which African ethics of connection and harmony can shape the very form and understanding of the current age. And so this year's conference has to deal a lot with healing and the like. And actually this is a shortened version of the full statement. But this is why I chose the topic that I did, and in terms of hip hop culture as a healing arts tradition. And I know there's going to be many that kind of looks at it as it, at least what is presented in its current state is a grave deviation from its original intent. But that's what I want to bring back and organize. And so what many people don't understand about hip hop culture is that hip hop first started off simply as a block party, a series of block parties, and where the DJs would, spin the soul, jazz, funk records. Because remember, there's no quote unquote hip hop records at this time. It's all funk, soul, jazz that is being played in the early 70s, 71, 72. And this was still during a time of great civil unrest here in the United States. And this is where African American people would in places like Brooklyn and the Bronx and the like would come and gather and dance to relieve stress and to take their minds away from the painful situations of existing in the quote unquote belly of the beast. And it is within that tradition of using dance as a healing modality and not as how should I say, like with the Indians, where they want to sit down and meditate to reach this higher consciousness. That's not been the tradition of African people. It's always been the moving of the feet. And there are a number of source material that I have which discusses this, and I make those kind of connections and why like b-boying and pop locking and all of the other social dances have such an effect around the world, because these are our spaces that we go to to raise the energy and the consciousness and to release pain and the like, and to regain our sanity. And this has to be stressed to the utmost degree, because what you're kind of seeing today is the exact opposite of what the culture intended for it to be in its early inception. And so part of the problem is that, especially for us African Americans, we have the semantics still intact in terms of our minds in associations. However, we lack the language to properly label and assess the realities in which we find ourselves in. And so with me renaming hip hop into Jashay, this is an attempt to now organize and to put hip hop in its proper context so that it can be utilized for what it was initially intended to do. And so it's a lot of work involved, but matter of fact, let me see if I can find, I don't know, it may be in let me probably go to social media uploads. Is there? Let me share my screen again. Will it? I think StreamYard will let me upload multiple. Let me see if it'll let me upload multiple images. Let me put that into context here. Let's go there. So I'm going to upload them now, and we'll kind of go from there. So, as I've stated before, it's been a lot going on. Let me stop sharing that screen. And again, this is an open forum, so if you want to join the conversation, hold on, which one am I missing? The one, the sister. And so boom, right? Let me see. So I've even, of course, experimenting with some AI art, in promotion of the thing. So this is Orin Ashe. Orin is a Yoruba word for music. And so the way that you properly read this is, Orin Ashe is the Ashe of music, the Ashe of sound, the science of sound, right? Then you have She Jo or Ashe Jo, which is the Ashe of dance. And then, of course, you have Afalshe or Afoshe. And Afoshe in Yoruba is essentially the Ashe behind speech. It is the ability to command and make things happen, right? And then, of course, you have the Iyashe. So, Ya is like to draw, and the like. And so, Iya makes it a noun form. So Ya is like to draw, and then Iya is, like drawings, art, things and the like. So it's the Ashe of the arts. And we just don't want to limit it to graffiti. So this can include the design of clothing, kind of urban inspired paintings and the like, designing of like the sneakers, billboards, and it includes, of course, graffiti. So it's Iyashe. And then, of course, you have the Eshegun, and dealing with the martial arts. That goon is the same goon that is in the word Ogun, the name of the deity Ogun, right? Who is the the patron of the metal, the shaping of metal instruments, including weapons, and of course, he's also dealing with the science of war. And so at the bottom of the, I don't know if y'all can see it because it is small, but it's just the 4 primary arts in the Eshegun is, of course, 52 blocks, capoeira, jiu-jitsu, and chess, right? So, you know, in the coming months and year, you'll see me speaking on this and hopefully having some larger presentations on each one so that it can be, you know, articulated better, and y'all get a better understanding of, you know, how we're reconceptualizing and taking back hip hop from the thuggery, because it is what is out now presenting itself as hip hop is not hip hop, is not the culture at all, and we shouldn't allow for something like this to die, because what others will do is try to take it, and you're seeing these debates and conversations where other people are trying to claim that they, you know, invented hip hop and don't understand the history or the culture or nothing at all. And this has to be part of the conversation, but we have to frame it in a way that it is useful, and we can institutionalize it, and then of course gatekeep it so that it maintains the integrity of its foundational ideals, right? And Mika says that she was at the block parties in the 80s, and but she has no rhythm, so I don't know what she was doing there at the parties. She wasn't dancing. Shots fired at Sister Mika. Let me see. And Jackie Johnson says that man has a lot of knowledge. He went from Islam. Are you talking about Brother Mapongo or Elder Mapongo? Let me see. And Sister Sylvia says, I agree. Dance has always been important to our culture. House parties, discos, dancing in church, and the like. Like, people really don't understand to the degree that that dance is so important to us, and especially like if y'all seen, if y'all have seen the movie Rise, right? And I'm gonna put together a video as well. Let me see if I can share. Let me go into my video archives and see if it will go to video projects. We go to Josh, and I heard someone come in, but I will be back in a second, because I'm just kind of looking for a file real quick. And let me see. Let me see. No, that's not the one. I'm looking for. A particular clip. Like, this would be good too, so I can.
What's good? It's your boy Lil C. It's the KOK, the King of Crump. You already know. Check the tag, step on deck. Official, baby. You already know. Check it out. Dance is something that is inexplainable. It's imponderable. It's passion. It's art. It's love. It's life. it's so many things. It's a means of coping. It's therapeutic. It's inspiring. It's a way for you to actually communicate non-verbally. It's a way for you to put everything you're going through in front of you, be it negative, be it positive, and figure out a way to metamorphosize it into some sort of fuel and propulsion to inspire and affect those around you. I think one of the greatest things about Dance Road is that it teaches people to not believe in complacency. It is the antidote to stagnation and procrastination, because it's very easy for you to, fall into that lane of comfortability, that realm of comfortability, that little corridor that, when you feel like you've reached a specific degree, in your rhythmical physical studies, to where, you just want to sit Indian style for a second, and, you get your kudos and your accolades from your peers and your teachers or whatnot. But here at Dance Road, you don't care about how good you are, because all we want you to focus on is what we're focusing on, and that's how great you can be. We teach people to maximize the opportunity and to actually unlock the potential that they can't even see that is there. We get them to wrap their mind around all of the potential possibilities, and we stretch that using that mental elasticity by, putting them through grueling tests. And it's not just physical, it's really mental. It's 100% mental if you really want to know. And we attack the psyche, because that right there is, that's the epicenter of everything that happens. Movement doesn't come from anywhere else but the mind. Movement is conceptual, and that happens right here. That's the birthplace of everything. So, here at Dance Road, it has been a humbling experience. It's been an honor to, serve and be a part of the faculty of life.
I'll just pause it right there. But the point, this is, they put his name. So this is Lil C. Chris Toller is his full name. And for those who have seen the movie Rise, you know that he is one of the original group of young folks that created the crump movement. And so along with Tight Eyes, and it's another brother, and then the other sister, right? So if you've seen that movie Rise, if you have not seen the movie Rise, I highly recommend that you go see it. But he talks about, it being essentially a way to heal yourself and balance yourself. And this is within the tradition of Africa, even though, these young folks are more than likely Christian or whatnot, but we bring those ideas to the forefront. And so let me stop sharing that for a second. I see we have Robert Rand in the building. Peace and blessings. I don't know if you can hear me. If you're still there. Brother Robert, if you are there, he may have stepped away, or maybe having some difficulty. See, I'm trying to come in. Let me know what, I'll just, remove him and let me know. I know he made the comment in the saying that they wasn't block parties, but they actually did kind of start off as block parties, and then they moved to, you know, the park jams, right? And even the jam, even the idea of the jam is African. The word jam is African, and it's West African, and it comes from like the Wolof, Fulani, that Atlantic group of African languages dealing with the party itself. And so I'll be dealing with that. This is one of the reasons why the Jashe is a play on jazz, because it's coming out of jazz culture, right? So Sister Ladosha says, let me remove that. Removed from the studio. He says he better watch out for that ray gun professor chick from Australia who gonna get a doctorate in it. I think she already has a doctorate. How can he protect his damn staff from people like her? Yeah, you know, it's no telling. But for those who haven't seen crumping, here's kind of some modern crump. I'm trying to see if I can find. Uh, let me see. I'll place this. I like the second one that comes up better than this one. He starts off kind of slow here. I'll pause it there, but you know, just kind of giving you a sense of what that is. And I'm gonna show one more video.
We dance. Do you understand? We don't sit down to meditate. We dance. That's how we leave our body. We cheza rojo. We play the spirit. We work it out.
What does that mean?
Cheza rojo literally means to play the spirit.
Okay.
Or to play the heart. Right? And when you understand the spiritual law, the heart is the beginning of the spirit. Right? So it means exactly the same thing. Cheza rojo. So when you see us in the motherland, anyway, name a country. Name a place where black people exist. They will have their Cheza rojo expression. Right? It's got different names. Do it, you do it, you do it. And just watch that person carefully. They're gone. They go into a trance state and realizing their meditation. You see?
Yeah.
And after that, the way they conduct themselves in society, the way they move and what they express as from that meditation, because meditation is where you go to download, right? From that, you get the African societies that were created, which is known as Ma'at, interdependence, oneness, love, the expression and experience of love, giving, seeking nothing in return. These are fundamental principles to Africans, and it comes from these very sacred practices, which again we've now had to channel through industries like Hollywood and etc. Does that make sense?
I don't know if y'all were able to kind of hear it well. The video of that was, you know, pretty low, but he essentially was kind of saying what Mapongo was saying, and that you know, he's essentially saying that we don't, when Africans meditate, we don't sit down, we dance, and it has this, you know, this healing component to it. And there's a book that I recommend called Boiling Energy. And Boiling Energy is a text, it's written by a European, but he's in Southwest Africa studying the you know, the Koa and Isan people, and they have a particular healing dance that as a matter of fact, let me kind of, you really can't see the dance too much, but this is the people in Botswana, and you kind of see some remnants of the dance. Yes, these are the Kuum people, and again, the book is called Boiling Energy, and they talk about this original. This has nothing to do with India, but this concept, it's a force, like how I mentioned Moyo and Ashe. Moyo coming for the Bantu folks, and Ashe for the Yoruba. For them, this force, this energy is called Num, or Kia, and they boil the Num by dancing rigorously and heating up the body. And this Num travels from the base of the spine and is released in trance through the crown of the head. And again, this has nothing to do with India, but it is reminiscent of this, some ideas that you find in Kundalini yoga and the like. But as stated, from the other gentleman, in Africa, we don't meditate in terms of, or it's not the tradition to sit still, that, you need the accompaniment of the drum. And it's the drum for which that sets the pace and the energy for the dances, which are used to raise the energy and the vibrations to start the healing process. And that's exactly what happened in them early park jams, not only in New York but across the country, and contributes to the birth of hip hop as we understand it in its modern form. But I saw a few questions earlier, but before we go there, I want to give Robert an opportunity to come back into the conversation. So hopefully his mic is working. Peace and blessings. Are you there? If you're speaking, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now, Saul?
I can hear you now. I can
Can
hear
you
you
hear me
now.
now?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hello?
Peace. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, so for those of you in the audience, can y'all hear me?
Can you hear me?
If so, press 1 if y'all can hear me, or type in 1. Let me see. So yes, y'all can hear me, but he can't hear me. Okay. So if you can hear me, Robert, I can hear you when you're talking, but apparently, you know, you probably can't hear me, but yes, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, he usually has trouble, coming into the conversation. But while we're waiting on him, I'm gonna scroll up and let me see. Peace and blessings to Lugani, and welcome to the Mbongi. And he asked the question: how should we view Arabic and North Africa speakers? Some in the Pan-African community have said we should unite the Black African countries rather than the Arab ones. Professor Kwesi Pra supports this. And it's going to be very difficult because in terms of your latter statement, because the Arabic speaking countries include, those countries that we would stereotypically argue are Black countries, like when you go to Senegal, when you go to parts of Nigeria, like in northern Nigeria, when you're talking about Sudan, when you're talking about places like Somalia, etc. These places speak Arabic. And of course, in terms of further up North Africa, in terms of like Morocco and Libya, and of course the Arab Republic of Egypt, that in terms of how we should view them, that's kind of a broad and loaded question. because are you asking in terms of that's assuming that everyone moves and acts alike in North Africa who speak the Arabic language. So remember, Arabic is a language, and of course, it was brought into Africa as a result of Islam, and so it would be more appropriate in terms of speaking about how should we view those Africans who practice Islam, and that will uh, kind of open up some conversation in terms of what how we should view those uh those viewpoints and practices in terms of African people in general. And hold on, let me see, let me add Robert again. Are you there? If I can't hear you if you are talking. I'm gonna do a GoFundMe and get Robert a microphone that works. We could hear you earlier, but you were I don't know if you could hear if you can hear me, but if you can't yeah, I can see you moving, I can see your mouth moving as well at times, but there's no sound coming in on my end. But I heard something. But we'll come back to you. Let me see. It says all Africans from the Mediterranean to the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean should unify, not just black. Yeah, there's going to be it will have to address the many different worldviews in terms of especially like because the question really is Christianity and Islam in Africa, because those can be, even if you unite Africa, those two religious traditions can still be used to weaken Africa, because for a lot of African people, their Christianity and their Islam supersedes their Africanness, and they will compromise because of the religious mandate to proselytize and to make everything Christian or Muslim. And that's the fundamental issue that has to be addressed. And it has to be understood that we're not going under Sharia law if we unite, and all this other kind of stuff, right? And certain fundamental rights for the populations, and none of this try to exploit those who don't adhere to your particular religious worldview. And it is Christianity and Islam as paradigms that have weakened Africa the way that it is currently today. And so if you unite Africa without having systems in place to address those things, and have it understood that no, this is not going to be a means and a way for you to exploit the continent for your religious goals, then uh that has to be part of the conversation. And Edward Nigma says, I've seen where wrestling is used in a few West African countries. Yeah, they have a big tradition out in Senegal. And it kind of reminds me of the Nuba wrestling that you see in one, the ancient Egyptian pyramid texts and the like, and in parts of the Sudan where it is still going on to this day. And yep, matter of fact, you just mentioned that in the next comment. Let me see. Let me scroll down. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, Brother Robert. And 42 Tribe says the Northwest Africans don't typically see themselves as Arab. But even if they don't see themselves as genetically Arab, the problem is that they still adhere to Islam, which makes them Arabs. And a lot of them, you know, they're trying to separate their genetics and their culture away from the Arabs and say that we're not Arabs, but not understanding that you become an Arab when you adopt their worldview and way of life. Because your mindset is an Arab. And so until they drop Islam and until they drop, you know, Arabic as a primary learning language, they're Arabs. And this goes for the darker skinned Africans as well. And it's part of the issues going on in Sudan right now. Let me see. Indeed. Do you ever answer the question on voodoo fetishes? I can't find your answer. I did not see the question, so let me scroll up and see what's the question. Hopefully I could still I'm not seeing. Okay, here we go. So he said, can you explain what a voodoo fetish is and what it represents and what it does and how they make it do what it does? Well, for one thing, Africans don't have fetishes. So, you know, that's some nonsense that Europeans made up. But I would rather a voodoo practitioner answer directly. And so if you're talking about like talisman objects or something like this or protective objects, you know, that's one thing. So, you know, certain objects are used for pedagogical purposes to teach certain lessons and values. Others are vehicles for medicines and powerful spirits and the like. But, you know, like off of the top of my head, I don't know like any particular ones, but matter of fact, I would recommend that if you have like Netflix, there's a documentary film that is called Voodoo, and it is titled In Search, and it looks like you can watch it on well, I don't know if it's on Prime, but it's definitely on Amazon. So if you have it, so let me share my screen real quick. So This is the documentary film Voodoo in Search of Voodoo, Roots to Heaven. And if you're familiar with the actor Jamon Hansu out of Benin, he is the one who directed this. So this is the trailer. Hopefully you can hear it.
My family name is Wunsu, which in my language means born in the voodoo shrine. When Hollywood told the story, we were bathed in images of exotica. Voodoo was projected as an enticing mix of sorcery and evil. Voodoo is a gateway into the consciousness of our planet's first people.
Sacrifice is a basic principle of religion. It is a way of communicating with God or invisible forces.
C'est dans ce sang, dans le bain de sang, qu'il chasse les mauvais esprits.
Mami Wata is the goddess of the ocean. The voice of the ocean called out one of the adepts, and she was gone.
Yeah, I would check out that documentary. And matter of fact, I'm doing some research on voodoo because voodoo is instrumental to the creation. Well, I shouldn't say instrumental, like it's solely it derives from it, but it had a major influence in New Orleans and the creation of jazz music and culture, along with some other things, so for a lot of people may not realize that a lot of us out of Louisiana have Haitian roots. As much as you can say is rooted in Haiti. But sorry. Adjusting myself as I'm sitting down here. There's a book that I recommend. Let me add this. Let me delete that real quick. Oop. Pictures, temp, bibliography. This is one of my source materials for the Sheikh Anta Diop conference. And I will share part of my bibliography. Hold on, where is the oh, here we go. All right. So this is one of the books that I'm using as a source. It's called Jazz Religion, the Second Line in the Black New Orleans. There's a good section in there where it's talking about the Haitian influence and the practice of voodoo, and how because when Louisiana was under French rule, there wasn't a strict mandate that the Africans couldn't practice their African religions. And so they would openly practice, voodoo, hoodoo, stuff like that. But when Louisiana was sold during the Louisiana Purchase to the United States put a ban on the practice of the African religions in fear of the revolts that could come from it. And so it is out of these black codes, as they were called, that the Africans out of Louisiana, they changed it up in terms of certain mass traditions, and they made it, they shifted it to make it look like the Indian culture. And this is how you get the Mardi Gras Indians. Like, people think the Mardi Gras Indians have anything to do with black people and Native American heritage. That has nothing to do with it. It is a mask for voodoo, because the whites would accept the Indian motifs, but they would not accept the black African motifs. So what the black African people out of New Orleans did was they masked the culture in Indian aesthetic, but all of that has to deal with voodoo. And that's partly discussed in this text right here, the jazz religion, the second line in Black New Orleans. So, African Americans have a rich culture here, and there's certain things that we still do that we had to mask under Christianity or some other things that are really just African practices. So when you understand all of this, you understand jazz, you understand ultimately the birth of hip hop, culture, and the like. Let me scroll back up here. Let me see. He said, didn't I have an interview with a voodoo practitioner? I don't remember. And I can't recall right off the top of my head. I know there's people that like dibble and dabble, but not like, I don't recall doing a full show on like somebody's particular voodoo experience as like a practitioner or a priest within the tradition. That I don't remember, but I could be wrong. Tetums says, what are your thoughts on the recent discussion by Siba Mku Imzi and Siba Taka Kilimanjaro pertaining to corrupted African leadership and how to eliminate this cancer? There's been so many books written on the failures of African leadership. I don't know whatever discussion they had, so I can't really answer pertaining to any particular points that they've had. So I don't know what their solutions are. But I know, like, I have a copy of an unreleased Dr. Fukiao text when it talks about Africa, the upside down sailboat. And its focus is on African leadership. Matter of fact, this very podcast is named after one of Fukiao's books, Mbongi, and that deals with African leadership. And he discusses the current state of African leaders and how we can get on track. Like there's tons and tons of books on that subject, and I wouldn't say anything any differently than them regarding that. Let me see. Professor Kwesi Pross says Black Africans have little connection to the people in Sudan and North Africa due to cultural differences. Kwesi Pryor is wrong on so many levels on that. Matter of fact, Sheikh Anta Diop demonstrates very conclusively the connection to Sudan and other North Africans, right? And matter of fact, Jean-Claude Mboli has a recent book out now in terms of the languages and the like and the cultures, linking the Central and Northern Africans together. I don't know where he gets that from. But yeah, but that's just what I said earlier, that the unification is going to be difficult in Africa because, again, Africans who are Christians and who are Muslims view themselves as Christians or Muslims before they are Africans. And is because of the mandate and the stranglehold that these religious traditions have on the minds of African people. And that's what makes it difficult to unite. And this is one of the reasons why Sheikh Anta Diop was working so hard to demonstrate to African people on the continent about just how related their languages and cultures are, and to use that as a basis for unity. But, of course, African people, the good sound leaders that we have, they don't support them. And there's always some coups or something like this, and some very bad folks who want to fatten their pockets and betray the African people, because, again, their personal interests are above the Africans themselves. Matter of fact, if you read Sheikh Anta Diop's Black Africa, an Economic and Cultural Basis for a Federated State, he really kind of deals with that. And he even gives, his reasons for why he went so hard on the linguistic and an anthropological front, for the unification of Africa and advocating for a United States of Africa. But it is this notion that I am an Arab, that I'm a child of Yahweh, and now what is taking over Africa is that all a bunch of African people are claiming that they're Hebrews. And it's like, as long as we thinking that we Hebrews and Arabs, we can't get nothing done. But hey, let me see. Peace and blessings to Brother Ujamaa in the building. Saying African Americans are the original Africans. Ancient Egyptians never identified as black race. Trump is slow. Indeed. He must be kind of reviewing the older part of the video. Sin scholar stays back 50 plus years. Indeed. Obama says, I saw Mommy Wata tell when I was a kid. And Sylvia says, the moaning bench in the Baptist church is a disguised African practice. Hell, everything we do in the black church is a disguised African practice. But the thing is, now we're so far gone from, direct practicing of African religious traditions that they don't know that in terms of the common Christian practitioner in a church. But another book that I recommend, let me upload the photo, is here we go. Oop. Is it showing up? There we go. Africanisms in American Culture, edited by Joseph E. Holloway. And this, I mean, it's an edited text, so there's many contributions from different scholars. But when you read the chapter by Robert Ferris Thompson, he has a good discussion about those African practices that we brought here to the United States and how they were integrated, especially within the church context. This is highly recommended and assigned reading for folks who I get started on in Africana studies. Let me see if I what's another good I'm gonna upload an image. And this is the I'll add this one too. So this is the book Boiling Energy that I was talking about earlier. Community Healing Among the Kalahari Kung by Richard Katz. Right. So that's one of my bibliographical sources for the Diop discussion in October. And then this is a good tech, Rituals of Resistance, African Atlantic Religion in Congo and the Low Countries South in the era of slavery. Right. Like, people got to understand just how influential the cultures of Benin and Senegambia, and especially the Congo, was in shaping African American culture. And so there's this other new FBA movement where they're assuming that all of African culture had been stripped from African Americans, and that we just created African American culture from scratch and started, and everything was homegrown here. These are people who have never taken Africana studies courses, of course. So, this is why, like, this is a highly recommended book, The Bantu Speaking Heritage of the United States by Winifred Voss. This is a very hard book to find if you can find it, but this is a very highly recommended book from me when you're trying to understand African American culture, right? And the influence. Like, it's like Congo Square is not called Congo Square for nothing in New Orleans. Matter of fact, there's a Congo Square here in Philadelphia. And, it's interesting when you think about these two music centers in terms of Philly sound, in terms of R&B and soul and neo soul and hip hop, and of course the soul and jazz tradition coming out of New Orleans. Both have Congo squares, and both were centers of cultural retentions of Bantu speaking people. And that's a conversation for another day, but this is these are the kinds of texts that we have to read to better understand these things that a lot of us don't, who are claiming that that black folks just appeared out of nowhere. And then of course you have those black folks that think we came out of the soil, we were the original people here in the United States. And it's just a whole bunch of foolishness going on the net these days. And this is part of the reason why I got to come back strong, because as soon as you take a break to do some research and get some other things done, all the pseudos get on the net and have a field day. And now, there's a whole bunch of black people thinking they indigenous to this place, and they have no ties to Africa, but are afraid to get a DNA test, and wondering where their black ass accents and vocabularies and stuff is coming from. Right? Let me see. And Sister Ladosha says, yep, that book is $5,000. Like I told y'all, that it's hard to find. I believe it's out of print. So whoever's charging $5,000 for that damn book has lost their goddamn mind. And that's if they even have the book. You know, people be scamming so much on the net. But there's other ways around. You can probably view it at your library if they have it. We got to be careful with this black people thing. Look, we've lost our minds in these internet streets, and I've learned that a long time ago. But what the hell? And what's up with all these people my age from my high school having grandchildren already? We just graduated in 2015. How you have grandchildren and we just graduated high school in 2015? How they do that? And peace to Sister Ladosha. I just got a notification of the contribution and want to say thank you greatly. And just wanted to acknowledge that and you. Love you for that and appreciate it. Thank you. And see, on my bad, I just kind of went to my Facebook page and I seen a brother that I went to high school with, you know, holding his grandson. And so, you know, again, I don't know how he has grandchildren already and we graduated high school in 2015. The math ain't mathing. So I'll deal with him later. But let me see. Is there what other video that I wanted to share? Because I'm taking these clips and I'm compiling them for the DIOP conference. And I'll have to save that. Nope, I'll just cancel that anyway. Well, we've been going on for 2 hours now, and you know, not too many people jumped on board. But again, I just wanted to have a discussion and, you know, kind of open up the lines and see where everybody's at. And, you know, we'll probably do some more live shows soon, and some pre-recorded interviews is on the way and coming. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for joining this conversation. And so with that being said, make sure again that if you are on the Patreon, to visit the video section. And our latest interview is with Dr. Kaikosa Kajangu. He is a professor of religion and philosophy out in Maryland, but he's originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo. He was initiated in South Africa under Credo Mutwa, initiated in a wisdom tradition out of Malawi, and another wisdom tradition, of course, in his home of the Democratic Republic of Congo. And, you know, he just has a wealth of knowledge, and his books are priceless. And of course, his PhD dissertation is something that I cite a lot. And so it was a real good and deep discussion, and it's going to be some more of him coming in the future. And so make sure that you all check that out. And, you know, who knows when I'll release it to the public. But but right now it's currently on the Patreon page. And so continue to support the channel. And if y'all have any other questions, make sure you hit me up here or hit me up on Facebook or on TikTok or on Instagram, and I'll try to answer your questions as best as I can. So thank each and every one of you, and until next time, peace.
Tokyo wanna those that. What's up? Feeling like I dropped the draw for and caught Uno. Came to kick the door while the game in judo. Pin game low, that's why they give me kudos. Inspired by the 3-0. 595, check it for pack flight. Hit the turnpike, slide to a baseline. Gotta sound like I just hit the 8-5. Oh, I'm so ready, by enemies necessary. We gon' be legendary, hold up. About to grow the payrolls. If you see the vision and you're with it, you should say so. Cause we about building, elevating the millions.
This program was created with the love and support of all our Patreon members and subscribers. If you are not a member yet and would like to see more content like this, consider becoming a member today. The link is in the description of this video. Your support is greatly appreciated.